What I did not discover my purpose until 23. I did not discover it until 23, and I felt I was still very late. I wish I knew the things I was doing when I was 13, but the system of the society never enabled it. Even my pastor could not tell me what my purpose was. My parents could not tell me what my purpose was. I needed to go to the service here in 2014 and sit down with all deliberateness and fellowship to know what my purpose in life was. If you ever discovered when this transformation has happened, it happened after 2014. If you are not deliberate about life, the world is not ready to accept you. If you are not deliberate about life, the world is not ready to accept you. Some of you have the privilege now. You are still under 20 and you are still joking around. And the only thing you are doing is to keep posting, sharing, and doing what other people are doing. And you are following the trend and not determining where you want to end your life. There is something more than the trends you see around. It's so funny today that some people have made social media their life. Some people have made what happens on the media to...
In the comment section, I'm going to get answers to all your questions.
You will wake up, you who is 18 today, you will wake up one day and just discover that you are already 25. You wake up one day and just discover that you are 30. You wake up one day and just discover you are 40. And you never know that time is going, because young is very deceptive. Very deceptive. Young is very deceptive. Let people not tell you that you are young. Why? Because you should ask yourself, when Jesus was born, what time was he discussing with those high priests? At the age of 12. What were you doing at the age of 12? What were you doing at the age of 12? You know, it pained me so much that I did not discover my purpose until 23. I did not discover it until 23. And I felt I was still very late. I wish I knew the things I was doing when I was 13, but the system of the society never enabled it. Even my pastor could not tell me what my purpose was. My parents could not tell me what my purpose was. I needed to go to the service here in 2014 and sit down with all deliberateness and fellowship to know what my purpose in life was. If you ever discovered when this transformation has happened, it happened after 2014. If you are not deliberate about life, the world is not ready to accept you. If you are not deliberate about life, the world is not ready to accept you. Some of you have the privilege now. You are still under 20 and you are still joking around. And the only thing you are doing is to keep posting, sharing, and doing what other people are doing. And you are following the trend and not determining where you want to end your life. There is something more than the trends you see around. It's so funny today that some people have made social media their life. Some people have...
In the comment section, I'm going to get answers to all your questions. Peace out.
Hello, welcome everyone to Growth School. It's amazing. I'm very, very grateful to have you join Growth School today. And for those who are new to Growth School is that experience and that moment where we come to learn to inspire on things that actually commit to helping us become better, do better, transform our lives, and how we can begin to change our world in the way that we can. For those who are meeting me for the first time, my name is Dr. Biodu Mustafa. I'm a computer science lecturer, personal development strategies, and also I'm a personal development trainer. I'm an author and also have a lot of very amazing things that I have done. Okay, so today we'll be looking at something very, very important. It's something that many people may probably have misunderstood, may probably have misdefined, may probably have misrepresented for various reasons. Okay, and don't be very surprised that you may assume that you know these things, but you really don't know them. Or probably you knew them in the past, but you don't know what they mean today. All right, so we'll be talking about the concept of learning. We will be redefining learning for as many who maybe for over time you have always thought the fact that, oh, I went to school, oh, I'm learning, oh, I attended a conference, oh, I'm learning, oh, I attended a summit, oh, I'm learning. And then you keep having that belief system that you know what learning means. And also for people who have always had the belief that, oh, the way people learn in the past is the same way they learn today, and then you don't seem to understand that those who really lead and those who are top in their industries and top in their classes and top in their studies and in the things that they do, there is something that differentiates them from the masses. There's something that differentiates them from others. Okay, look at the world that we live in. If you begin to measure those who are the top, those who are the greatest leaders, those who are called top nations, those who are doing the top and they are categorized amidst the 1%, they are always in the few. They are always the few. They are always the few. But you see, those who stay at the average level, those who stay at the base level, those who stay in the majority, they are always many. And that's why if you begin to look at nations that are categorized, for example, as first world nation, they're always few compared to the number of nations we have in the world. The same way if you go to schools and they are calling out those who are the first class, they are always the fewest amidst the others. Okay, that's because there's something that separates those who are the top to those who are at the base. Something that separates those who are the top from those who are the base. And it's very important that you begin to know, understand, and use the things that make people stay at the top. So, are you ready to stay at the top? Are you ready to be amidst the top? Not just in your school, not just in your study, but also in your industry, but also in the career choice that you have made. I'm going to tell you a brief story about me. Okay, my name is, I've told you, Dr. Abiodun Mustafa. I remembered at the time when I was attending my nursery and primary school. Okay, that time we used to have a lesson teacher, and this woman would always teach us every time after school. And then that was how she started teaching us things from brighter grammar, things from mathematics. And I realized in primary school I was doing very well. Like you'd find me, I'm the first to the third. It's either I have first, second, or third position most of the time. And then over time, from nursery and primary school, I moved on to secondary school. In secondary school, JSS, I that used to be the first, second, or third, or maybe fourth sometimes, I now found out that I was having 17 position. I was having 25 position. Though we're many in class, we're having the number up to 60 something, 70 something. But what happened to that young boy who was that person that was having first, second, third position, now having 17 position, 20 something position? And then I was not doing so well in my subject. All right, I was not doing so well in my subject until later on I got to SS. SS is senior secondary school. Maybe for those who are not in Nigeria who don't know what the SSS means, we have JSS, we have junior secondary school, we have senior secondary school. So junior secondary school is what you come into after your primary education. So we used to have GS1, GS2, GS3, and then we have SS1, SS2, SS3. I know some of you are used to basic 1, basic 2, basic 3, but then it used to be when you have nursery 1, nursery 2, you now have primary 1, primary 2 up to primary 6, and then you now start GS1, GS2, GS3. Then in SS, I started trying a bit to read, and then my result was better. Then we didn't use position. Most often in SS, it's always either you have A1, B2, B3, up to F9. All right. So F9 is like the least. It means that person failed that subject. And then eventually, when it was time for WAEC, that's the SSE exam and the NECO exam, you know how we just sit down and be reading, we want to pass. I was not really reading that much, but eventually I was able to scale through my WAEC and also my NECO. All right, I scaled through, I passed my WAEC, I passed my NECO. Now it was time to go into the university, and then when you go into the university, you need to write JAM. All right, that time it used to be UME, that's the Unified Matriculation Exam. Now it's UTME, that's Unified Tertiary Matriculation Exam. That time it used to be UME. Okay, so when I was done in 2017, my parents wanted me to work, and then they made me go work in a factory where I was getting some little money and all of that. It was really a very rigorous experience. And then 20 that this is 2009 I now applied to a jam center. All right, and then we started, that's jam tutor center. And then from that time, for a very short time, maybe about 2 or 3 months, I then wrote my UME. My UME, I scored over 200. I think it was 209 or 219 at that time. I can't remember now. It's been a long time. And after that period, I picked FUTA as my first choice. FUTA is Federal University of Technology, Akure. I wanted to go for elect engineering. For first choice, second choice, I picked industrial chemistry. All right, which means I just wanted to do something in the sciences. Okay, just follow my story because I'm driving at something. And eventually, when I wrote the post-UTME, I scored less than 50%. Wow, what happened? And eventually, FUTA did not give me admission. Okay, ordinarily, it was a result of academic excellence, and there were a lot of students who were probably better fitted for those courses. Maybe if I picked education or maybe one other course that didn't look like it, I would have done. The following year was 20. No, okay. The first year I wrote my jam was 2007, was 2008, sorry. My first jam was 2008. My second jam was 2009. Now, in 2009, I now wrote jam again. This period, in my tutorial center, they used to have Adams Adebola Tutorial Center is in Oshodi, because that was where I was born, that was where I was brought up. We had people who come from far. People were coming from Surulere, people were coming from the island, people were coming from even close to Ogun State to come and attend that tutorial. And then I met two other friends, and these two other friends were willing and passionate about, okay, the fact that we wanted to really teach this jam, wanted to do so well. And every month we used to have mock exams. And those mock exams usually prepare us for the learning. And then they always give prizes to best in science, best in commercial, best in art, best in this subject. And those things really drove us to start studying, to start learning, to start building a lot of things. There was no longer that playfulness of secondary school. It was now the seriousness about life, because you knew that if you didn't go to university and people saw you in the street all the time, especially when your parents would tell you, yeah, go and buy something in the chemist, or yeah, go and buy something in the supermarket, people will just know that this guy never entered school. And that drive will want to make you pass. I know some of you were there. Like maybe you know that you don't want to be the one that they will be saying they are sending you message to go and buy this, to go and buy this, because people will not need to ask whether you pass jam or why are you not in school and all of those things. All that really, they just know that the guy no makeup. The guy did not pass jam. So the second jam, I chose Unilag first choice. I wanted to go for physics education, and then I chose FUNAP, physics science, okay, BSc physics. And eventually, when I wrote the post-UTME for FUNAP, I had 76%. When I wrote that of Unilag, I had about 50 something percent. Unilag did not give me admission. FUNAP gave me admission. But while I was writing the post-UME, instead of physics, I just felt, oh, the computing that's always been there. I just picked computing, and then they gave me. That was how I got admission. And then the journey went on and on. Immediately I finished, I was amidst the best six when we're graduating in computer science. I went for service year 2014, came back 2015, did my master's, finished my master's in 2017. And then I went to work in the corporate firm for about 2 years between 2017 and 2019. 2019, I went for my PhD. 2030, I completed my PhD. I'm just trying to let you know that I have gone through all of the academic systems of learning, and I am still learning. I'm still a student. Though, yes, I lecture in a university, I teach people, but I'm trying to let you know that the game has changed from the traditional way of learning to the way it is today. And for those who want to be the best and who want to really, really top, you need to understand the way of learning today. And learning has to be redefined for you. Okay. Now, what really is learning? Someone may be asking that, oh, what really is learning? Now, learning is the ability to be able to pick tools that enables you solve problems better, understand your environment, and contribute to the society. Okay. Now, some of you already who have always thought that, oh, I'm learning, oh, I'm in school, oh, I had a degree. Even right now, some of you maybe even at first class, some of you maybe even at second class upper, some of you even had some fantastic results. But sometimes you want to ask yourself that, are you really learning? And you know how people will be doing things, and when they are going, you'll be saying, did this guy actually go to school? Even though that guy has a degree, there's really no sign of learning. Because true learning will give you the ability to solve problems, will enable you to understand your environment, will enable you to be able to make contributions, will enable you to start making good decisions, will enable you to begin to direct your path in life. And these are very crucial elements that you must imbibe. Whatever you are doing that does not make you a better person, that does not make you solve problems, that does not make you make good decisions, that does not make you understand your environment, is not a sign that you have learned. Which means that going to school is not the same as learning. Going to the class is not the same as learning. Reading a book is not the same as learning. Taking an online course is not the same as learning. Okay? They can direct you to a point of learning, but they don't equate to learning. I'll cite an example. Have you seen people that you'd ask them, can you drive? They'll say yes. Okay. Have you drove before? They'll say no. How do you know that you can drive? They say no, I've watched a YouTube video. Or they'll say, oh, I've seen someone driving before. Or they'll say, oh, is it not just to be holding gear? Is it not just to be pressing throttle? Is it not just to be pressing brake? But now give them a car to drive. They can't drive it. Okay? They will struggle and struggle so much, which means the fact that you know a thing does not mean you have learned that thing. I'll say it again. The fact that you know a thing does not mean you have learned that thing. Learning will show that when a problem is presented, for you to solve it with what you know, then you have learned. Is someone getting something? Then you have learned. The problem is we have many school goers, but we have very few learners. We have what? Many school goers, but we have very few learners. The same way with people who go to business schools, the same way with people who take online courses, the same way with people who go through different instances. Are you aware? I'm going to pinpoint, there are some subjects you took when you were in school, when you were in secondary school, that if only you knew the application of those subjects, your life would be better than the way it is. If only you knew why those subjects were essential to you beyond just writing the exam, passing the test, passing the exam, having an A1, and doing all of those things. There is an application of those subjects, all right, to the things that you do. And I'm going to pick some of them. All right, I'm flipping through what I drafted here. I'm going to flip through it. Now, let's start with mathematics. Let's start with mathematics. There are some of you that say, oh, maths is hard. Why would they be teaching me maths? Some of you will say, oh, me, I just love to be this. Some of you say, oh, I'm in maths camp. Oh, I'm in theater art. Oh, I'm in history. What should I be doing with maths? Do you know that the greatest innovators in life are mathematicians? The greatest innovators in life, they are mathematicians. And those who created very fantastic things that the world celebrates, they are people who used an element of mathematics. Let me tell you why. Because mathematics teaches you how to be logical. When I was in school, doing my undergraduate days, there was a subject called abstract algebra. We did abstract algebra, we did groups and ring. At every time they were presenting those propositions, those corollaries, and every of those things, we never knew their value. But when you came out of those things, it made you think differently. If you have ever seen mathematicians, there's a different way they think. There's a different way they reason. They always try to find elements, summations, and they interpret life mathematically. And you find out that their brains are usually sharp. Their brains are usually sharp. Listen, the mathematics you did in school that you felt, oh, they just wasted our time. They made us to do this plus this. They made us to do this time this. They made us to bring these things. They sharpened your brain. They sharpen your brain. Go and find out. If you were somebody that you were a child, when you were a child, you loved mathematics, you were always critical to doing mathematics, you were always willing to practice questions, to add this together, to bring numbers together, to begin to learn those things, your brain is usually sharp. Like the way you think is different. When they present something to you, you don't just react, you always look for a way to connect them. You always look for a way to connect them. Number two, let's talk about physics. All right. Forgive my bias. All right. Okay. I came from a science background, even though I've learned many other things. So I will talk about physics. I'm still going to come to your area. You know, you are in the commercials, you're in the social sciences, or you are in the heart. Don't worry, I'll come to you. I'm going to tell you the application of those subjects that they told you must pass in your jam, that they told you that you must pass before you gain admission for those courses. Now, let's talk about physics. Now, how many of you, when you were doing physics, you learned this thing called lever and fulcrum? How many of you learned those things? You know, they did lever, they did pulley, they did, they used to tell us about fulcrum. Have you noticed that, okay, all right, thank you. Okay, science background. Okay. All right, don't worry. I'll still touch your wing. All right. Have you learned that when you see the diagram of those things called the lever, you always find out that most times they will bring something that looks like an heavy load, one very heavy load. And with just a very little effort, they are able to lift that load. How many of you learned that thing in physics? Immediately, you find out that just with minimal effort, when you have a lever, you can lift a very heavy load with very little effort, with very easy, with a very small effort. Why? Because of the availability of a lever. Those things are called, that is how people use leverage. All right. Now, in the real world, do you notice that the hardest working individuals are not usually the richest? The hardest working individuals are not the richest. Let me tell you why. Because they don't have the leverage to earn more. They don't have the leverage to earn more. The people who don't seem to do so much of energetic work, okay, they make more of the money. Why? Because they have a leverage to apply little effort and to earn more. The question is, what leverage do you have in life? What's the lever that is available to you for you to make more in that industry? What's the lever? What's the leverage that you have that will give you the ability to become the top in your industry? We all learned this from what? From physics. I'm going to bring another instance of physics. All right. I'm going to bring another instance of physics. Now, how many of you remember there is this thing called prism? Yeah, is it prism? This thing called prism. Now, when we were doing physics practical in science, I'm bringing some people back to school. All right. I'm a teacher, I'm a lecturer. So just follow me. We used to have something that looks like I think it's a pyramid, something that looks like a pyramid. They'll put a ruler on it, and then they begin to put weights. They begin to put weights. They put weight on one side, they put weight on another side, and then the one that has the highest weight and the longest distance will bring down the ruler on this side. And then the one that has less weight, if it wants to create a balance, on that particular object, you have to move it. You have to move the distance so that it can balance up that thing that we have. Now, what is it telling you? If you need to create balance in life, okay? If you need to create balance in life between different things that are not of the same weight, sometimes you need to compromise your distance. Sometimes you need to compromise your distance. For example, maybe you're someone that, you need certain connections, you need certain individuals, and you want to move to a very great pedestal. You will not say that this is where I am. Okay. If I will be like that person, I just need to remain here. I just need to stay here. I will not change. I am unmovable. I am unshakable. I'm sorry. Sometimes you need to move out of where you are to meet certain people for you to grow to their level of results. All right. For example, some of the things that I have to go is saying I'm an introvert. Oh, I'm not the type that wants to always come out and talk. Some of the things that may have to go is I don't like going for events. I just want to be here. Me, I'm just me. I'm just this. Some of the things that have to go. Sometimes you need to give out your work. You need to give out your gift for people to bring you into the level that they are. That's how you begin to create your balance. That's how you begin to create your balance. Just like that weight moves because it does not have a greater weight, it needs to begin to change its distance. Power of physics. Power of physics. All these things I've said are just the same thing you were taught in physics. SS1, SS2. I don't remember OKK physics. I know there used to be essential physics, OKK physics. There used to be, I think, comprehensive physics, some of those things. But we never knew the applications because we were only taught to pass them. We were not taught how to apply them. Okay? Because you were only taught how to pass them, you were not taught how to apply them. And application is what turns knowledge into learning. Application is what turns knowledge into learning. I would have wanted to go to physics too, but those in the social sciences will offend me. Let me go to economics. How many of you remember in your economics that you learned something called opportunity cost? Let me see in the comment section. How many of you learned in economics opportunity cost? Opportunity cost. I'm just taking you back to secondary school. I'm just giving you foundation to all those things you learned. How have you learned opportunity cost? Now, we were told that for every decision, there is always something that is sacrificed. What does opportunity cost say? He said, for every choice you make in business, there is always a consequence to it. The same way, for every choice you make in life, there's always a consequence to it. For example, you decided that, you want to start a business. There are some things that you're losing. Some things have to be exchanged for it. Okay? Sometimes the time you should have invested in this would go into this business venture you want to go into. For example, maybe you studied a course in school, and right now you say you no longer want to go into that course. You want to start over and go into another industry. There is an opportunity cost to it. There's something that goes, there's something that needs to be sacrificed for you to attain those things. Let's go back to school. For example, you go to the campus and you found out that a lot of your colleagues, maybe as guys, you just found out that this guy will come and say, I have this girl, I have Cynthia, I have Chioma, I have Chiamaka, and then you are just looking and say, wait, me, what I just want is to have a first class, is to be a very good guy. I want to get the best graduating student. If you want to get that, you would need to lose the things that guy is pursuing. That's an opportunity cost. If you want to be the reigning guy, the handsome guy that all the girls, you want to attract them to yourself, then you need to sacrifice being the best student. You need to sacrifice some other great adventures, which means there is always an opportunity cost to life. For every choice you make, for everything you do, for every decision you make, you are simply going through an opportunity cost. This is something we learned in economics. It's just everything about life. It's just everywhere about life. The same way you learn supply and demand. Supply and demand. They tell you the higher the demand, the lower the supply sometimes. The higher the supply, sometimes the lower the demand. And then sometimes the higher the demand, sometimes the price begins to change. Everything is simply an application of life. The question is, maybe you need to go back to the basis. Some of the solutions you are looking for in your life, why is this not working? Why is this not going well? Why are all of these things not working well for me? Why is it that I'm not moving at the pace I should? Maybe you need to visit your secondary school subject again and begin to apply those things to your life today. Can I still go for that? Do you still want me to take another subject? Let me see the comment. Do you want me to take another subject? I want to take another subject and tell you the application to life. Another subject. All right, don't worry. Let me take the next. Government. Social science students, show you're happy now. Let's say government. I remembered when I was in GSS 3, there's something my school did. I attended Command Secondary School, Oshodi. All right. Command Secondary School, Oshodi. That's Oshodi Barracks. For those who are in Lagos, if you pass Oshodi as if you are going to Charity, you see that barracks. My school is inside. All right. That was the school I attended. Thanks to my mom who went through her way to ensure that we got the best of education. All right. And I'm really grateful to that. Now she's late. And I'm grateful. All right. I don't want to be emotional. Let me get to the class. Now, government. When we are in GSS 3 and we're about going to SS1, there's something that my school does. All right. All right, sorry. Someone is saying cyber honey. Sorry, it's saying physics, please. I really didn't enjoy my secondary school physics. Sorry. I think I'm helping you enjoy your physics now. All right, I'm helping you enjoy physics better now. Interesting. Yes, take English language and analyze it. Blessing upon call. All right, let's see. All right, there's a part to English. And for those who are really in English, there's something I would advise you to do. I would want you to study the foundation of English, the history of English, and then where English came from. If you really want to know the power of English, all right, you need to do those things. The background, the history, all right, where English came from, and then who were the people that initiated the concept of English. All right, so I'm talking, I want to go to government, but I want to give a story to it. Now, when we get to SS3, there's something they used to do. Okay, we used to have a time in between where they start teaching us virtually all the subjects. Okay, they'll teach us literature, they'll teach us government, they'll teach us accounting, they'll teach us history, just to make every one of us in GSS3 to have an idea on every of those different aspects, and then from there we can now make decisions. Now, there's a mistake people usually make in saying, oh, my son must be in science class. My son must be in science. You know, most times at that time, people want to push their child to be in science because they say, oh, the doctor, the engineer, the this, the that, the all of that. And then you just see people trying to make all their children go to the sciences. Okay. But at that time, there's something they taught us about government. They taught us about the arms of government. Okay, especially Nigeria, the arms of government. That was the first time I learned on the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. Okay, these are general things I expect everybody, as long as you pass through school, you should know this thing. They taught us that we have the executive, we have the judiciary, we have the legislators. The executive, okay, has to do with, the way you have the president, you have the vice president, you have the senate, you have the house of rep. So majorly the executive is like the president and the vice president. The judiciary, those are the judges, okay, the Supreme Court judges and all that. The legislators are the senate, and then the house of rep, and then the same way, just like we have in states where we have the executive governor, we have the deputy governor, then we now have the House of Assembly. That's the legislator. Okay, the same way you operate in every state. Now, the reason why you always say that the executive governor is because he's an executive in the state. Okay, the judges are called the judiciary, the legislators, that's why you call them the House of Assembly. Okay, they are the one that ensure that when something comes from the executive, they are the one that legislate through them and ensure that it pass through readings and then they approve them. Now, do you know that in every industry, you want to be a tech guru, you want to be in the mass media, you want to become a mass communicator, you want to become a journalist, you want to be, even in the family, we have those arms of government too. We have the arms of government in the family, like the way we have the father, we have the mother, and then we have the children. Okay, so the same way in every industry we have them. We have those who are the executives in every industry. In every industry, the industry you are working, maybe you're working in the bank, you're working in the mass media, we have the executives in that industry. And the truth is, the executives are those that can wake up one morning and just read out a law and everybody obeys. and everybody obeys. You know, the president of the nation can wake up in the morning and just not feel like, it just feels like he does not want people to go to work today and declare a public holiday. Let me tell you what will happen. Everybody will obey. That's how powerful the executive is. And that's why in industries we have the policies, we have those who read the law, we have those who give compliance requirements, we have those who say this is what should work. I'm in a university, for example. In the university, we have something called the governing council. The governing council is more powerful than the vice chancellor. If the governing council says the vice chancellor should not do something, the vice chancellor dares not take that action. Else, he will face the wrath of the governing council. All right? So we have the governing council, we have the chancellor. All these things, they exist in every industry. The university you went to, they have a governing council. They have the people who sit down and control what the vice chancellor does. Okay, we have the pro chancellor. These are things that exist on a daily basis. Look at your life. Maybe, for example, you are working in a place. Your managing director is an executive. Why do you think they call them CEO, Chief Executive Officer? Executive, he exists. Just like you have the CEO, you also have the board of directors. You have the advisory board, okay, that have authority also over the CEO. So look at how our works. Just the same subject you learned in school is being used in our daily world, which means school, in its essence, is meant to make you a better learner, a better problem solver, and someone who can effect change in the environment. Who can effect change in the environment? Should I still pick another one? Those in the heart, all right? Humanities, should I pick another one? History. Let's go to history. Let's go to history. Now, do you know that history is well defined in the Bible? Both the impact, both the effects. The Bible says that there is nothing new under heaven. It says, as it has been, so it is, and so it will continue to be. You know the problem? The problem is don't understand that life is understood backward, but is lived forward. All right. I listened to that quote from Dr. Lumide Emmanuel. All right. He is someone I expect so much. I listen to him when he has to do with things around finances, things around investing, and all of that. He said, life is understood backward, but is lived forward. What does that mean? It means that if you really want to take critical decisions, you must be a student of history. You must be a student of history. You want to make like very real decisions. You want to be able to transform the world. You want to be able to change things. You must understand history. Some of you are in certain industry right now. What is the history of that industry? Let's say maybe you are working in the baking industry. What's the history? What's your understanding of the history of that industry? Some of you are working in the banking sector. Do you understand the history of the banking sector? Some people say, just give me the privilege. If I become a leader, I will become a senator, I'll become an honorable, I'll become this, I'll become a governor. Do you know the history of your country? Do you know the history of your state? How was Nigeria formed? It will be easy to complain and talk about things and say, oh, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, Nigeria is all of that, or that country is this, or Brazil is this, or that is this, or you're just talking about your country. The truth is, what do you know about the history of your country? What do you know about the First World War? What was the cause of the First World War? What do you know about the Second World War? What do you know about the civil war that happened in Nigeria? What do you know about how power was handed over by the British, by the Prime Minister, was handed over to the first Nigerian, Tafawa Balewa? What do you know about the history of your country? If you don't understand the history of your country, you will keep complaining all your life and wonder why your country is the way it is. All right? What do you know about how Nigeria decided that they wanted to become a democratic nation? What do you know about democracy? All right? It's very critical. History is powerful. If you want to take the right decisions in government, in decisions, and the things that take place, you must understand the history of where you are. What's even the history of education? I know some of you, they just told you, oh, come and go to school, go and do this. When you finish with BSc, go and do MSc. When you do this, go and do PhD. What do you know about the history of education? How did education come from the British and then it came to us? What was the system that brought education? And that's why you must understand that until you know the history, you will not understand what it takes to be the best at it. Because by the time some of you go through history, beyond seeking to have a first class, you will seek something greater. Why? Because the system that controls education in the past, at that time it was handed over, is not the same way it is today. It's very, very important. Very, very critical. Very, very critical. You must understand the history of your industry. And you would not master a system that you don't know its history. You would not master a system that you don't know its history. Let me tell you how people do forecast. Okay, I remember in my 300 level, we're given I was given a mini project. Okay, we used to do something called a mini project, just like something that should look like the real project, but it's not up to that. And the project was on prediction of student enrollment using artificial neural network. And this is all of this has to do with history. Now, no. Prediction of annual rainfall, not student enrollment. Prediction of annual rainfall using artificial neural network. Okay, and what did we do? What we simply needed to do was to pick historic data. All right, the data of the annual rainfall data in the past, and then based on certain simulation, the machine will begin to learn based on history to tell us what will happen in the future. That's exactly what they do in forecasting. That's exactly what they do in forecasting. If you want to go into business, in that business industry, if you want to know what profit will be in the next 5 years, the feasibility of that industry in the next 10 years, you simply need historic data. There's power in history. I'm telling you. There's power in history. Thank you so much, Samuel Abidemi. I'm learning a lot here. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you learning. There is power in history. You will now see people struggling, trying to say, this business is not moving, this industry is not doing this, that and this is not doing this. You will see learning is powerful. You need history. You see those things you learned in history, like knowing why the Igbo are treated the way they are, why the Hausas are the way they are, why the Yorubas are the way they are, what brought about the amalgamation, what brought about all of those things. I remember, I think it was in 100 level, I think it was GST 102, where we were taught history. Some of you just let they want to pass. Oh, just go. I got an A. I did all of this. Oh, yeah, now problem don't come and solve it. You can't solve them. Why? Because you really went to school, you passed the exam, but what did you learn? Let me tell you something very funny. That we had an amazing lecturer. I'm trying to remember. I think she's now Professor Onifade from Funab. She taught us the scramble for Africa. See how the woman taught us scramble for Africa. We used to have a bread. Oh, very sweet bread. I miss that bread now, but not too much because I've eaten some amazing bread and they make very good bread in my university too. So she brought Funab bread and she came to class. And she called, I think, some 7, 6 guys, and she wanted to teach us the scramble for Africa. Scramble for Africa there was a meeting they had in Berlin where some of the first world nations in Europe, they just sat down together and they started analyzing Africa, and they started picking nations that they were going to colonize. Okay, so the British picked, say, Nigeria. France picked, I think, Mali, Guinea. Some of those French-speaking countries. We also had Russia. They just started scrambling and say, oh, we will take this, we will take this. They started analyzing all of the resources that those countries had, and then they came in and colonized those nations. Okay, that was how they started having the British colony, the French colony, and then we started having Anglophone, Francophone countries. This is history. You need to know that history, because if you don't understand history, you will just assume that Nigeria just became Nigeria. You just assume that Nigeria just became the way it is. You don't know why the British has a lot of influence. Why do we eat tea? Why do we wear suits and tie? With all these things were the ideologies that came from a particular country. Okay, it begins to drive your reasoning, and then you begin to communicate differently. You don't just appear like an ordinary Nigeria. You know where Nigeria is coming from. And when this woman was to teach us the scramble for Africa, she brought the bread and then she threw it up in front on the podium and come and see guys trying to hustle for bread. This one wanted to get a portion of the bread, now wanted to get a greater portion, and then we just understood that come. So this is how they determine the fate of Nigeria. This is how they determine the fate of Cameroon. This is how they determine the fate of Ghana. This is how they determine the fate of Mali. The way they determine the fates of the African nations. The scramble for Africa. So when you want to come up and start talking, you know the way people will come online. They just want to tweet. Hey, Nigeria is this country is this. Why did they do that? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Who did this? We cannot continue like this. And they are trying to do all of those things. You need to come from a place of history. Where are we coming from? How the people start taking decisions in the past? How do we move from having prime ministers to now having presidents? How do we move from just the prime ministerial rule to where we now have different arms of government? History. You need to become a student of history. You will not become a successful leader in a country that you don't know its history. You will not become a great leader in an industry you don't know its history. I'm telling you the truth. History is powerful. Thank you so much, Nweko Henry Undoka. I'm really getting value. Thank you so much. You need to become a student of history. History is very powerful. You see that history you did, okay? That HIS, this one, HIS, that, all those history and all of that. You need to become a student of history. And listen to me, whether you're a science student, you're a social science student, or you are in the humanities, listen to me, listen to this. You must embrace the power of every of these areas to become a better person and a greater problem solver. If you want to become so great, you want to become so intelligent, like you want to get to the point that, oh, people respect you and say, oh, this guy is smart, this guy is intelligent, you must speak every of the value in each of these areas and then apply them to your daily life. You know something I got generally, I didn't hear this from anywhere. If you have heard it anywhere, probably that person is hearing it from me from the first time, probably. Now listen, something I realized about the science field is that science makes you become a more curious person. Okay, that's why we have lots of people who did experiments. We have lots of people who innovate things, people who spend time in the lab, people who sit down and code. Science makes you become more curious because you keep asking questions. You keep saying, can this be better? I remember secondary school when we're doing our practical. We used to have a table. We used to have a table and it was brought into 3 compartments. So we have, I think, the observation, the experiment, and then the results. We used to have those things. Now, what were they doing to us? They were making us more curious. That, okay, if we can look at these things and we can see this thing is changing, especially when we used to have the methyl put inside, I think it used to be the base, and you will now begin to mix the acid, and then you'll be waiting for the time it changes, and then you now begin to read that thing. You'll begin to read it and say, where did this stop? So this is the quantity of what we use. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, so what is the effect of that? From this observation, what's your conclusion? Science makes you become more curious. Don't lose the power of any field. And that's why you find out that most science students end up as employees. Most, I'm not saying all, most science students ends up as employee. And those who become employers, those who become CEOs, those who become business owners, they used to harness the power of the commercial. They usually harness the power of the commercial to become to become great leaders. That's why you find out that most programmers are employees. They are either working for this organization or working for that organization. Now, the commercial field teaches you leadership. That's why you find out that most people, most of the leaders you have, whether in business, in any industry, whether in the banking sector, in government, most of them actually did something. They did a course in the commercial field. If they did not start in the commercial field, they took courses in the commercial field that made them become great leaders. Commercial, that all those courses in the commercial field actually makes you to become a better leader. All right, makes you to become a better leader. Now let's go to the arts. Art people, how far on a day? Art people, how far on a day? Now, the arts makes you to become more relational. Okay, the power of the art is that it makes you to become more relational and then makes you a better communicator. It makes you more relational and makes you a better communication. That's the power of the art. The science makes you become more curious. The commercial makes you become a better leader, and then the art makes you to become relational. That's why you find out that if you see somebody who is actually the art kind of, they are usually extroverts. They are the kinds that, oh, they will come, they want to talk, they want to report, they are just enjoying themselves doing those things. That's why you have things like history, you have things like literature, you have things like English, you have things like mass communication. Those things makes them become more relational. They want to do things that people can connect to. They want to do things that people can connect to. They want to do things that people enjoy and people love. They just want to speak. They just want to be free. That's why you find out that most of the greatest actor and actresses that you see, they did theater arts. Most of them. Those who did not do, they learned it. They went to school of theater. Why? Because it makes them express themselves. They animate everything that is given to them. Okay, so you should be able to embrace the power of these three fields into your life. If you find somebody who is very curious, who is a great leader, and who is relational, you will find out that they end up as the wealthiest. Most of them are the wealthiest people on earth. Most of them are the weirdest people on earth. With this understanding, a science student will not come out and say, science is the best, science is the this. Most of them end up as employees. The same way commercial business, commercial, we are the best. We are the one that keep your money. We are the one, all those fights we used to fight and all those arguments and debates we used to have when we're not aware in secondary school, and we'll look at art people like this one, what will they become? They'll just go and be acting film and be sewing clothes and be doing this and go and be selling. No. Every of these areas actually have power in themselves. Every of them. Thank you so much, Ogeyi. I love this. Thank you so much. All right. Every of these things, they have power in themselves. They have power in themselves. I hope you are getting value. Are you getting value? Are you getting value? Are you getting value? Oh, let me know. That's fantastic. I hope you are getting value. Very, 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 very important. Very important. So no field is more important than the other. All right. Every of these fields have their strengths. Okay. Every of these fields have their strengths. Now I want to talk about. Thank you so much. Thank you, Abiodun Older. Thank you so much. All right. I want to talk about something very critical, and it's on what the learning system of today teaches you. What the learning system of today teaches you. What the learning system of today teaches you. All right. But before I say that, I want you to hold on a sec. I want to share a very, very quick announcement. An announcement you didn't pay for. How many of you are ready to say it? I want to just show you something very, very important, which I think um, you would love to be a part of. Which I think you would love to be part of. you would love to be part of. All right. So let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Wow, Moses Salami, nice to see you again. Thanks, brother. Nice to see you. How you doing? Henry, thank you so much. All right, so let me share a very quick announcement. Please still stay on. I trust you're getting value already. All right, so this is the announcement. There is a summit coming up. There is this summit coming up. It's coming up in September 20 and 21st. It's called Money Summit. It's called Money Summit. And the theme is the money of the new economy. The money of the new economy. It's basically meant for young professionals, graduates, undergraduates, career people, entrepreneurs who want to master the money game. All right. You want to know the money game. You want to be able to transform your life, change your life, and know how to make money legitimately using the current tools that are available. And it's going to be a 2 day virtual summit. It's virtual, it's going to be on YouTube. It's not on this channel. It's going to be on Growth of Africa TV. And I would be one of the speakers at that event. I'll be speaking at that event, sharing on monetizable skills of the new economy, and also without Precious Babatunde. Precious Babatunde is a social media marketer, digital strategies, and she's doing so well in digital space, social media, influencing for brands and all of that. And also Faithful Ojebi will be speaking on money on the new economy, and he will be sharing a lot of things along his journey, how he came into the tech space, how he has been able to build impact and influence in the tech space. Also, we'll be having so Precious Babatunde will be talking about how you can make money, how you can monetize social media. Olani Ishoyinka was my trainer on public speaking and communication 2020, and I think a there was also a repeat of that course that I also did, I think 2021. So we'll be teaching on how you can monetize public speaking. Okay. And then Elizabeth Samuel is the founder of Elab, Edit Like a Boss. She's grossing so high, doing so well. One of our books, One Product, 1 Million, made over very big six figures. Okay. And you want to really learn from her on how you can monetize online products. Okay. And she would also be speaking. So this is just an announcement for you to be part of this, be part of this program. Let me check out. Let me share. Please hold on a sec. Just hold on. Um, I'm trying to look for the link to the event. So just hold on. I would share that with you quickly. So I'll just share on the chat section. So if you're interested, you can just register right away. You can register right away. Okay, I think I know the link. Let me see. Please hold on a sec. Um, hmm, because I don't want anyone to miss this. So I just had to share. I just had to share this. Um, so where's the link? Please hold on a sec. But I know the link is I know it's www.growthofafrica.org/money summit slash money summit. I'm trying to look for it on my phone, so that I'll just put it there, and then we can continue with the session. So I don't want you to miss that particular summit. So that's why I'm announcing it now. So I hope you guys are getting value so far. I hope you're getting value. Let me see in the comment section if you are getting value. Sorry, my OAP voice have entered. I hope you're getting value, guys. It's a Builder Mustafa and Mix. Are you getting value? Getting value? Value all the time. It's very, very important that you get value. That you get value. That you get value. All right, interesting. So I'll post it soon. Wow, Joseph, nice to see you. How are you doing? These are my people, my amazing people from Anchor University. Nice to see you, Joseph. How you doing? Been a long time. Nice to see you again. I hope you're enjoying your break. All right, so I would share the link now. So I would share the link. So that's the link. You can just do a screenshot. You can just do a screenshot and so do a screenshot. Just do a screenshot so you can register later so we can continue with the class. Just do a screenshot and then you can register later. So it's growthubafrica.org/money summit. All right. Very amazing speakers. Very amazing speakers. I'm telling you. These speakers will blow your mind. Like it's not, there are people that talk and talk, but these ones they have results. So they will talk out of the results that they have. Okay. So have you taken a screenshot? Should I take it up? Should I take it off? Should we continue? Should we continue? Should we continue? Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. Alunge. Thank you so much. Very vital. Thank you so much for joining, Ma. Ms. Alunge is a lecturer at Rectem. That's Redeemers College of Technology and Management. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really grateful. Thank you, Ma. All right. So that's the link. Please do well to copy and then register later. Okay, so let's go on to class. Come back to class, come back to class, come back to class. Okay, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe and then share this link with everyone you know. You can share the link now. So in this time, we have taken short break. Copy the link. Just see that share. You see that share button, that arrow that is like going to the right. Just click on it, copy the link, and go and post on your WhatsApp status. Let people come. WhatsApp status. People say status. Okay, WhatsApp status. And then let's get people to come in here. All right, so I'm bringing my face. Very good. Now, what are the things that you will get from the learning system of today? Okay, and if you're a student who is on an undergraduate program or you're a postgraduate, you're a student on program, this particular thing I want to tell you will change your life. So pay attention. Oh. Pay rapt attention. If you are doing something else and you have not been listening, please put that thing aside now. Just borrow yourself this time and pay attention because there are some things you do in school, okay, or some things that the school system make you do that you probably have not always understood what you are meant to learn from it. Okay? The system of the school that you have. I'm talking about Nigeria now because I schooled mostly in Nigeria. Okay, if I did any schooling outside Nigeria, it's online. Okay, it's probably online. Okay, and many of those things, if you are able to understand this right now, it is going to change your life. Okay, you are not just going to make a first class, you'll become a problem solver, you become an innovator, you'll begin to solve problems like this, you'll become sought after in your industry. Just pay attention so that as you begin to do the things you do in school, or maybe you have a child, you begin to help them learn these things, or maybe you have younger ones, you can begin to assist them. Now, the number one thing that you should learn from school today, okay, is collaboration. And I'll tell you some things you do in school that you don't know that that's what you are meant to know. Okay, that's because maybe the teachers or lecturers or educators will give you those tasks, don't explain to you. Some explain, some may not. Now, what are the things that you should learn from the tasks you're given to do in school? Number one is collaboration. Whenever, for example, a lecturer or maybe your teacher gives you um, work, maybe give you some work to do, like maybe told you have a group discussion and come back and discuss to us in class. You know what they want you to do? They want you to learn how to collaborate. For somebody who have always been say, oh, I'm an introvert, I don't like to talk, I just want to keep to myself, I don't want to make friends. You see that group discussion, group work that you are giving will make you break out of that introverted limitation to start engaging people. Okay, people who did not know how brilliant you are, who did not know how smart you are, by the time you engage in that discussion, you begin to discuss with them, you begin to talk to them, you learn collaborative skills. You start learning that, oh, wonderful, this person is good at this. All right, no problem. I'll pick that thing from that person. Oh, wow, this guy knows this. Oh, I will pick that thing from that person. Now, by the time you go out from the campus and you start working with people, you start working with various kinds of people, you have built the competence of collaborating with people that are not like you. Okay, because sometimes as introverted people you want every of your friends to be people that don't talk. You just want them to also be the very introverted people like you. But through collaborative work that you have done, you have learned how to engage different individuals. All right, while you're on campus, you are able to know things like study groups. Okay, you can have your study groups, reading groups, they call them reading groups, or discussion groups, where when you don't understand a particular course, you can say, oh, you and these guys, can we just sit down together and just look at these things together? Little by little, you are learning problem solving. Little by little, you are learning problem solving. And that's why when a lecturer gives a task for you to do in a group and you don't contribute, you have hindered yourself from building the competence of collaboration. You have hindered yourself from building the competence of collaboration. It's very important that you are able to build that competence over time. Like you are able to contribute. You say, oh, who is going to present? Let me give you a very quick story. You know, some of you thought that the way I'm talking, maybe people see me on stage, I speak confidently. People say, ah, wow, sir, that was nice. Ah, sir, I don't know you can speak like this. Ah, sir, your speaking is very wonderful. Let me tell you the truth. I used to be very, very shy as a child. Even as a teenager, I used to be very, very shy. As you are seeing me like this, I will I will better pass by a lady than ask her out. I will better just pass by a lady than ask her out. Why? Because I used to be very, very shy. Very, very shy. I was so shy to the extent that I had classmates that were bullying me. I was that shy. Like I was so shy and timid. Like I didn't love to come out to speak in public. Aside from when I was in children's church, I would say, yeah, come and read memory verse. Even reading memory verse sometimes, I used to be very scared. You will see me, you will see that, oh, this guy is fearful. Let me tell you something that changed my life. When I was in, I think it was 200 level, I still remember one of my friends now, Koshimani, Benga, I still remember Sholada, that just remembering my classmates in undergraduate now, very amazing guys. So we're in this group where they told us that I think it's Chronicle of Brother Jero. I think it was Chronicle. We read Chronicle of Brother Jero. We read some literature books. It's a GST course. No, we used to call it GNS. All right, we used to call it GNS. Then, in that particular task we're given as a group, they told us that, oh, you guys are going to come out and act this movie, and somebody will come out to be like the moderator and will be talking about the story, bringing the learning and all of that. Lo and behold, this timid guy, this shy guy, was the one they picked that would stand on that stage. We give the introduction to the drama. All right. will be the one that will be bringing the learnings, will be the one that will be sharing every of those things. I'm telling you that that experience was the first experience that presented me before a crowd of people. And the number of people that were taking that class at that time, they were over, I think we're over 150 or maybe even up to 200 or so. And I was standing and just talking and doing those things. And little like by little, my competence was growing. In terms of leadership, I was building that competence. Why? Because of an activity that was done in school. So every time you bring yourself out of a task, you have shrinked the competence that you should have gotten from it. So something that the learning system of today is giving. We used to have this traditional time, okay, where if a teacher is teaching, the teacher will talk, 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 carry textbook, say this one said this, open your textbook, and everybody will be reading and say, Ali go to Simbi, and Simbi wear the shoe, and Ali wear this shoe, and this, and everybody is talking. And then everybody will just be silent in class, and the teacher will just be talking, talking, talking. Do you understand? What's the usual answer? Let me see the comments. Immediately, the teacher or the lecturer asks that question, do you understand? The next you see, everybody will say, yes. But how come not everybody used to score everything in exam? That's because there was a deficiency in that learning technique. There was a deficiency in that learning techniques. Now, today's learning technique and learning system wants to bring Favor, thank you. Favor knows the answer. That's the answer. Yes, everybody just say yes. You see the chorus, yes. All right, Chieke colleagues also say exactly. That's the answer. That's the everybody say yes, ma. Yeah, especially those women. Those women, especially those ones that used to wear those afro or those ones that used to do all those all back. We had some very amazing teachers in school. All right. But eventually people don't learn it. But the learning system of today requires collaboration. And that's why, as a science student or somebody in computer science, you should have a friend in the humanities who understands history. You should have a friend in nursing who understands things about health. You should have a friend in anatomy who understands something about the anatomy of the body. You should have a friend in law. For example, the way I am, I have a friend who is a lawyer. I have a friend who is an accountant. I have I have a sibling who works in the bank. You should have friends in those areas. You should have friends in those areas. You know why? Because our world today require effective collaboration that will make you rounded. Our world today requires effective collaboration that will make you rounded. Don't just say, I'm in computer science. The only friends I have to be people in computer. I'm sorry, the day you will be sick, okay, and the only thing is just one drug that maybe someone who is the nurse will recommend for you to use, and on that same sickness you would have spent like 50,000, 70,000 that you should have saved if only you have collaborated. You had a friend that is in that field that would have helped you. Today, if you happen to stay in Nigeria, okay, go and listen to what people say about getting treatment in the hospital. I remembered when my dad had an ailment and we needed to be in the hospital. We knew what we're seeing. You will see people staying for long before they attended to, until they knew somebody before they would speed it up and all of those things. Today's world, you see those things in school, they are teaching you collaboration, teamwork. Those things you do in entrepreneurship, they'll put all of you in one group and say, oh, you people should work together and discuss. Today's learning techniques includes collaboration. Number two is exposure. Is exposure. Is exposure. Now I'm going to speak against a narrative. I'm going to speak against a narrative. When people come out and say school is calm, why should I go to school? Let me tell you, there are some things you will never know except you are in a school system. There are some privileges you will never have except you're in a school system. Do you know that the easiest way to learn about other people's tribe and culture without going to their hometown is by being in a school system. Is by being in a school system. Recently, not recently, I think this year I met a young lady who happened to have stayed in the north. I've met a number of them who are in the north, and I started understanding certain things about them. Even though I served there, I served in Gusau Zamfara State 2014 to 2015. And knowing her, meeting her, I would never have expected, oh, someone will leave the north and come to Lagos to study. But there are a number of them. The same way, when people speak about other cultures or say, oh, the north is this, the north they are this, oh, the Igbos, the east they are this, oh, those in the south they are this, those in the southwest they are this. Listen, when you are in a school system, you can easily engage those who stayed there, those who lived there, who will give you idea about such culture. Who will tell you, oh, you know, the north is this, oh, I've been there, we're ruled by this is a system that we operate with, this is a thing that we do, this is how it is. And then you begin to gain exposure about those places without even going there. Without even going there. But you know what? A lot of people that say school is calm, ask them about the Igbo tribe. They don't know anything, and yet they went through the school. And yet they went through the school. Ask them about the belief system. Okay, what honor is in the southwest? What honor is in the southeast? What honor is in the north? And then ask them about the Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying tuned. third world issues. All right. So, like I was saying, number one, we said the learning system of today would teach you one, collaboration. I said number two, exposure. So exposure is where you start learning from other cultures. For example, in my university, we've had students who have had the privilege to travel to Europe, all right, to travel to Europe. Why? Because the school system provided an environment for them to do so. Okay, it is in the school you would have things like excursions. People can leave this country and go to other countries. If you in your father's house, your father may not just release you to go to those places. So the learning system of today must provide exposure. All right, must offer you some form of exposure. You will become exposed to other culture, exposed to other things, exposed even to the industry. That's why, for example, there is a period for I know for computer science, there's a period for 6 months where you'll be said to go for SIWES, that's the Student Industrial Work Experience Scheme. You will go for internship, all right, for that period. Why? Because school created that system for you. So the learning system of today must offer you exposure. Number three is depth. Number three is depth. Number three is depth. Oh, thank you, Divine. Divine Chukwuemeka. Thanks for joining. Divine Chukwuemeka is that Japa queen. If you want to know so much around Japa, she talks a lot around those who want to Japa, what you should do before Japaing, should do Japa or not. Okay, there's a lot. And she also works as the virtual assistant for Growth of Africa. All right. So if you need more details around the Money Summit and all, you can reach out to her. Thank you, Divine, for joining. Okay. Now, depth. Now, let me ask you guys something. Have you written an exam before? Just listen. Have you written an exam before? And after you wrote that exam, you just expected, you were so sure that let this examiner, let this lecturer go and mark this exam in the moon. I will score A I will have A in this course. How many of you have been there? And eventually, when the result now came out, you didn't have A. And you were now asking, what happened? What did I do? But I know I wrote. I answered the question well. I did all of that. How many of you have been there before? Let me see in the comment. How many of you have been there? So I'm going to, because I want to bring out a point of depth there. Like you wrote that exam, you were so sure, you were like, this exam, I know it's sure for me, pa. You know, it's sure for me, pa, or it's sure for me, gone. And then when it came out, you didn't have A in the course, or you didn't get your expected score. How many of you have been there before? All right, fantastic. So there are people who have been there. Now, do you know that there are times that if you don't critically look at what you are told to do in answering a question, you can miss that question. For example, maybe a question says, state the 7 types of programming language, for example. And then when you now got here, you just listed. And if each of the things that were to be stated carried 3 marks, just for listing, you'll be giving just 1 mark each. You know why? Because you needed to build depth. Okay. For example, there are some things they will tell you explain with the aid of a diagram. There are things they will tell you discuss. Okay. What are they trying to tell you? Tell you that there are instances where the depth, okay, the in-depth knowledge of that thing is required. It is in school that you learn those things. It is in school that you learn those things. Okay. For example, you are given a project work to do. What do? You begin to search. You start looking for the depth. You do things like literature review. What are you doing? You are digging deep into what has been done in that work. You are looking out for the objective of that work. You are looking out for the method that was used. You are looking out for the result. You are looking for the gap. What are you learning? You are learning how to build depth. You are learning how to build depth. It is in a school system that you learn how to be deep. You learn how to be deep. You learn how to be deep. There are people that when you read their project, you say, oh, this guy has really learned. And that's how you begin to cite. That's how you begin to make references. Why? Because you went deep into knowledge. You went deep into knowledge. You try to begin to understand it like you are In the medical line, what do you begin to do? You start looking in depthly. You start saying, okay, let me get the depth of these things. Let me learn about this. Let me know the name of this kind of bone, know the botanical name. Let me learn all of this. Why? You are building depth. You are building depth. You are building depth. So those who truly learn, they build depth. And those who build depth, when they leave the campus environment, when they leave the four walls of the institution, their communication is different. When they begin to refer to terms, okay, it comes out differently. Number four is that the learning of today will teach you speed. All right, will teach you speed. I'm going to do a demonstration on something. The learning of today will teach you speed. All right. And I need you to pay attention here. I did a video recently on how you can use AI to study effectively. Okay. Now, do you know that in the past, if you wanted to use the SQ3R, how many of you know what the SQ3R is? The survey, the question, the read, the recite, and then the review. Okay, they used to tell us that's the study technique, the study method. They call it the SQ3R. The SQ3R. Okay, so now in the past, if you needed to read that way, if we were supposed to read in that way, um, Oluwatoki Sunday Ojo, thank you very much. You are interesting. Now, if you needed to read in that time and use that method, you know what we'll do? We'll first sit down and start looking. We'll be looking at the textbook or the material one after the other. And as we are looking at it, after we have surveyed, we'll now be writing out questions ourselves. I used to do that. I don't know if I even have those books now, or maybe I've disposed them. All right. I used to have those things. I'll be writing questions like define this, what is this, list is something of this, do all of these things before we now go to start reading. But do you know that today, with the power of AI, with just chat GPT, I did in that video, all right, with just chat GPT, you can get up to hundreds of questions from just one outline or from just a segment of your lecture material, from just a segment of your lecture material. You don't have to start going this and this and all of that. You can actually gather a lot of questions just with AI, Chat GPT. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what I did in that video. I'm going to demonstrate what I did in that video so that you can get it. Because today, you know that the learning of today now offers you speed options. Okay, now there are not so many physical lecture rooms anymore. Now what you have is ebooks, e-lecture notes, and then you have every of those platforms. Now I'm going to show you something. Now, how do you generate questions easily? You want to become an effective student. You want to be able to go straight to the point. You don't want to just go here and there. You want to reach straight to the point, and then you want to be able to build competence so that if you go to exam hall, you are just ready and all of that. Now, I'm going to demonstrate. Permit me to share my screen quickly because I need to do some hands-on stuff. All right. So this is ChatGPT. Please, I want you to put if you are using your mobile device, just put it on full screen so that you can see what I want to do. Just put it on full screen. Now, this is ChatGPT platform, which I expect most people to be used to. If you don't know about ChatGPT, watch videos on YouTube on how to use ChatGPT. Now, you have a lecture material, and then because you have that lecture material, you are just like, this lecture material is too much. How do I read effectively and just go straight to the point and then still be better? And then you can even read ahead of those who who want to just cover all the textbooks and all of that. Now, what do you do? Now, first and foremost, go and attach that lecture material first. I'm going to attach it now. I'm going to attach a lecture note. I'm going to attach a lecture note. It's a lecture note that has to do with operating system. So I'm just going to attach it. Okay. Now, the lecture note is attaching already, is in PDF. Now, I can just go to ChatGPT and create a prompt. I will say, hello, ChatGPT. just hold on a sec. I will just go to a prompt I created, so I don't have to type. So I don't have to type. Just hold on a sec, hold on a sec, hold on a sec. Where are you? Okay, interesting. So this is it. Now, I had this chart. Okay, I was the one who wrote it, and not to worry, I can share this with you. I can share this prompt I'm using with you on the. I can share it with you on. I can share it with you. I'm trying to look at what I wrote the other time. Okay, so I'll have to reattach. So I will share it with you on the Telegram channel. You don't have to copy the exact chart. I'll just share the link straight up with you. Okay. So I'm going to reattach this document. So because I'm saving time, that's why I'm just pasting this. I actually created this prompt. So see what I said there. I said, hello, ChatGPT. I would like you to be, okay, that's my friend, study partner as I read the course. Okay, so this would have been operating system. I have uploaded the study material for a course. Please come up with 60 possible questions. Let me reduce it so that we can save time. Let me say 20 possible questions that are likely to come out during my examination using the material. I want to use these to enable my study. Act like a university professor. All right? And then let's go. Let's see the work of ChatGPT helping us generate questions. Okay, now you can see questions based on the content of the uploaded material on concurrency in operating system. Here are 20 possible exam questions that a university professor might ask. You can see, explain the concept of concurrency in operating system and discuss its importance in modern computing. What factors affect the execution time? You see, you can see all of these questions. Now, by the time you sit down with all of these questions, all right, you just look through the questions. You now go back to the study and begin to read one after the other. Are you following? You begin to read one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, one after the one after the other, and you are done with your reading. Go back. You will now go back to those questions. Go back to those questions without looking at the materials and start answering them one after the other. 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 Okay? If maybe, for example, you typed them, okay, you now go back to re-upload and say, hello, ChatGPT, I have answered the question that you presented. Now I have uploaded this answer. Kindly grade me and tell me which aspect did I not get right. Okay, full stop. Go to the next line and say, kindly, all right, kindly tell me what I need to do in order to get these questions perfectly. And then you put the prompt. And then question one, it will tell you, okay, maybe you tried, this is correct, but you can add this. Oh, question two, you answered it perfectly. You can see how you are beginning to engage AI in your learning. It's not just you just copy question or get question on this and then you bring it there. In that way, you are not learning. In that way, you are not mastering what you have gotten. But by generating questions, in the past, we needed to use our brains by looking at textbooks to be writing it one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, and then before we got it. Okay, but now the rules are changing. Okay, but now the rules are changing. Okay, let's say, for example, someone in anatomy. Okay, maybe you read something in anatomy and it was not clear. Just go to ChatGPT, upload the material, and say, "Oh, I read this part of the material on anatomy, and it appears that this is not very clear. Please, can you break it down in a layman language, as though you are teaching a 7-year-old child this particular concept?" And then it gives you simpler form, simpler models, simpler approach to begin to learn these things. All right. Now you are seeing how to really use tools like ChatGPT, tools like there are different tools for those who want to really master mathematics. There are tools like Khan Academy, okay, that gives you the very easy and simple approach to get it done. Okay, I think some people are happy right here. All right. Fantastic. Let me bring the topic again. Okay, so speed. All right, speed, speed. Now, when you are giving things like impromptu tests, the idea of the lecturer is not really to destroy you or make you feel or something. They are trying to vet your understanding and your ability to respond to questions instantly. Because some of the problems that will confront you in life, that you are going to meet in your business, you'll meet in your workplaces, some of them will not wait for you to prepare. They are going to need you to answer instantly. So when lecturers give you things like impromptu tests, my students, all right, most of the students I taught last session, sometimes I will just be in class and based on what I was saying, share a sheet of paper. And you see people, the adrenaline. Some of them they'll be making noise, they'll be shouting, they'll be communicating, trying to talk, say this, say this, say this. Immediately it's an impromptu test, you just see silence. Everybody becomes gentle. And then they'll say, "Sir, why are you doing this? Sir, this is problem." No, I am teaching you how to respond to problems instantly, how to respond, how to get solutions at an instance or propose solutions at an instance. The learning of today will teach you speed. Will teach you speed because the problems in the world do not need to wait for a long time. They need those who can think quickly, like quickly, 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 quickly. Like, can you think fast and just say, yes, this is the way, and let's go about it. And then you can bring connecting ideologies to it. All right. Thank you for staying. Oh, this is amazing. This is going to be almost like my longest good school. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I can keep talking like this for the next 3 hours, but don't worry, we'll be done. We'll be done soon. Okay. So I spoke about in your learning, the learning system of today will teach you number one, collaboration, number two, exposure, number three, depth, number four, speed, and number five, communication. So when lecturers or educators give you privilege to make presentations, all right, like preparing PowerPoint slides and coming out to present, what they are teaching is communication. Why? Because in business meetings, if you have ideas and you want to get investors, you need to make pitches. All right, what they are teaching you is communication. When they say, oh, you are making predator presentation, you are making post data presentation, you are doing presentation in that course, you are talking about that topic, they are making you go back to seats and next knowledge and then begin to connect them, begin to bring application to them. All right, and then you speak over them, you speak about them, you speak about them confidently. Sometimes you will say, oh, don't read your slide. What are they telling you to do? Master, animate what you have put on that slide and then talk over it like an expert. And that's why when you see people come out for pitches, they just come out and talk and say, oh, in the year 2019, when 2020, when COVID happened, it looked as if everybody was on the downtime. And I started looking at this. You see people telling stories, sharing things. People can relate to them, bringing people on that journey, simplifying complex things. Okay, what presentation is doing to you is that it's making you communicate. Okay, I'm going to leave this video as a replay. Why? Because I know that even though most of the people watching this are students, some educators will watch it later on and they would get to learn from it. Okay, and then they will change they will change some of their lecturings. Okay, lecturing has gone beyond just talking. A lecturer comes and talk in class. Information is flying at a speed. Sometimes I've noticed that even while you talk about a topic, students already judge how you are going to talk about it. But I always come in a different way. And that's why when I come in that different way, students don't expect it because they feel, oh, why don't he just be like everybody? They give notes, they do all of those things, which is fine, which is amazing. But every of the learning and the teaching methodology of today must comprise all of these things. So presentation, a student must be able to communicate. So you ask questions in class, the students respond, and then they are able to relate. And when you see students that have made presentations over time, when they go out, it's not difficult for them anymore. I visited one of our students recently who is on Cyrus. And I was so delighted, okay? When the guy said, oh, when he came, the guy is introverted, is gentle and all of that. But after a while, we found out that he was making presentations, he was sharing about his code, he was sharing about his solution, he was sharing about the app. I was happy inside me. Inside me, I was just delighted. Hey, that's it. That's what learning should provide. That's what learning should provide. You must be able to communicate. You must be able to communicate by writing emails. You see, some of you that you leave school and you don't know how to write email. It's very bad. It's not a good thing. All right. Okay. You must know how to communicate via email. All right. Good day, ma. Okay. And all of those things. I hope this email meets you well. Ma, I realize that this is. You see, some people want to complain about timetable, for example. Just say, sir, timetable is clashy. Can you solve this thing? No. There's a way to construct an email. It has to be a flow. There has to be a flow. So all those things you did in your comprehension, your composition, it was building you on how to communicate, building you on how you can begin to shoot right emails, allow people get into your frame of thought, allow people begin to understand what you're saying, allow people to begin to relate with you. That is what the learning of today should do. If you come out of school and you can't communicate, I'm sorry, you really did not pass through school. You really did not pass through school. I told you my public speaking prowess was brought into limelight as a student on campus. As a student on campus. You can't be a great leader if you are not a good public speaker, if you are not a good communicator. We are not a good communicator. All right, that's what presentation is doing to you. Sometimes you still will get angry. Ah, sir, why are you giving us presentation? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? No, the learning of today wants to build a well-grounded, a holistic graduate. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you, my sister Sharon. Thank you, Sharon, for joining. Sharp, interesting. Um, So communication, every learning of today must improve your communication. Now, number six is attention. Attention. If if you have the opportunity to, I mean, if you're in Nigeria, you have the ability to be sent to a private university, you don't know what God has done for you. You don't know what God has done for you. And that's why I used to believe that going to a private university, most times, um, you shouldn't have anything less than a 2-1. I usually always expect a first class, but if it's so rough and tough, you should not have anything than a 2-1. Let me tell you why. Because I found out that one of the places that you can maximize your attention and you have the ability to be able to meditate, build your mind strongly for higher opportunities is in private university. When I was I know I told my story of how I attended FUNAB. In FUNAB, I didn't have the privilege to live in the hostel all through my years. If I ever slept in the hostel, it's either because I went to visit a friend and I stayed there for a while, maybe doing exam or to read, or I needed them to do something. I lived outside the campus. Outside the campus. Okay, if you know FUNAB very well, we have a place called camp. At the time when I was schooling, we had another place in town called Obantoko. In camp, I would leave my house, trekking from my house to where I was going to take the man court. All right, we used to have a school bus where I would take the bus and queue. The the queue used to be long, long. You'll see almost like 200 students queuing to enter bus. All right, and if you don't come early, you'll stay like far in the queue, and you may be on the queue for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes 40 minutes. By the time you board the bus, it will take another maybe 15 minutes to get to the campus. Immediately you get to the bus stop, all right, where the bus is going to drop you, where you'd alight at the bus, you will still trek almost like another 10 or 15 minutes to the lecture hall. To the lecture hall. Look at that stress. And that was how I lived an higher percentage of my life. The same way when you are done in school, around 6, we are running to go and queue, running to go and queue. We would now queue and still leave, and then you go back home. When you get home, maybe the first thing you are taking is gari and maybe granite. Sometimes we used to buy fish somewhere. Don't worry. See, all these things are funny now. Some people don't know what made us. So I need to share this story so that you understand where we are coming from. And then we would come back, buy fish, all those small, small fish. They sold it then, I think 20 naira. It's not now that fish, that fried fish then is now like 100 naira. And then we'd eat it with gari. Sometimes we'll buy cold water and then we'll do all of that. After sleeping a while, you wake up at midnight, you would read and do all of that. And we went through that. And if going through that, I was able to graduate with a 4 point result over a 5 point. If you are in a private university, I expect you should do better. Because that time, if you really wanted to take time to meditate, you needed to put in extra effort. Like you want to just sit down, meditate, come into an inner world, you needed extra effort because of that stress we went through. In a private university, you have the ability to be maximal in your attention, to be able to sit down, read, study. All right. You don't have the distraction of having to cook by yourself, having to do certain things by yourself. For some people, they even have the laundry there that can do all of those things for them. All they just have to do is to sit down, read very well, and then just have A in the course. The school system teaches you attention because while you are in school, as a student who really wants to be a student, you are thinking about a particular goal. You are thinking about a particular goal. School teaches you how to become a good goal getter, a good goal setter, and somebody who is able to achieve whatsoever you put your mind to. You can only learn that in the school environment. So the learning of today wants to make you pay attention. And that's why, for example, when you're writing exam, they, if a student just comes and you say, define this with the aid of an exam of a diagram, and the student just put it there, maybe the diagram is just maybe 40% of the mark that you should have gotten for that question. But in the campus, you are able to pay attention that, oh, the woman wanted me to explain. Or when you see states, oh, they wanted me to outline and explain those things. When you see, I like and do this, it's trying to drive you to be someone who can pay attention. Now, in paying attention, you start paying attention to your environment. You begin to understand your environment. You begin to understand how it works. You are beginning to do all of those things because the people who can observe well, they build greater wisdom than those who cannot. If you are somebody who has studied the Bible, go and read the book of Proverbs. Most of the things that Solomon wrote, he wrote them through observation. He wrote them through observation. And the school is giving you the ability to pay attention to your environment and respond, okay, through wisdom and informed decision to the things that are happening around you. That's why exams exist. Exams are not necessarily there to fail you, to destroy you, or just for you to be there to pass, which is good, have A in them. But more importantly, there are more exams in life that if you don't know how to answer them, you will fail. So most people fail after school because they don't know how to answer the questions of the exams of life. What are the exams of life? Exams of life like knowing who to collaborate with, knowing the kind of solutions to let out, knowing the kind of things to respond to, knowing what is yours and what is not yours, knowing what to be open-minded to. That's what exam is meant to do to you. That's what exam is really about. So the ability to pay attention, listening to instruction, and then invest your mind into the things that can make you better. All right. I'm not done yet. There are even some aspects I didn't touch, but for today, let's make do with this. I hope you got value. I hope it made sense. I hope it was worth your time. This webinar is already approaching close to 2 hours. So I want to know if there are questions. If you have questions now, you can ask. If you have questions now, you can ask. All right. If you have questions on what have been shared. All right. So learning today is now different. Now, let me redefine learning. All right. Learning used to be the ability to add to your mind, the ability to add to your brain, the tools that make you a better problem solver, that makes you understand your environment. Okay. That makes you understand your environment and that enables you to make good decisions. Now, learning today has to do with your ability, okay, to be able to imbibe quality knowledge in a good time, in a form that you can solve problems, you can make good decisions, and you can understand your environment. So the learning of today requires quality and speed. Quality and speed. Quality and speed. All right. And I've demonstrated the tools that you can start using to learn. I just made use of ChatGPT. There are a number of them that you need to know how to use. Um, all right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I want to make the announcement again um, on Money Summit, all right, which I mentioned. I don't know if some people came late, so I just want to mention Money Summit is coming up in September. All right, though I would still announce more of it next month. Yeah, I think the next webinar is going to be next week. So we'll be entering September next week. If you have not registered, please do well to register. That's the link. Just go. All right. This will bring you to the landing page. You get to the landing page and then you go down to where you can register. So growthubafrica.org/money summit. All right. All right. So most people keep complaining about money, money, money. Where is money? Where is this? Where is that? All right, from Money Summit with this fantastic guest. One, monetizing social media, money of the new economy, monetizable skills, how you can monetize public speaking, and then how you can create online digital products for it. And the advantage and benefit you will get by attending this webinar is that for every of the products that every of the speakers have, you have the ability to get a discount from it. Okay, I personally have a gift for you. I personally have a gift for everyone that attends this summit. Okay, I hope you got so much value. I hope it was worth your time. I hope it was really valuable to you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Emmanuel Esther. Oh, thank you so much for joining. I'm really getting value. Thank you, Dr. Mustafa. I've registered already. Oh, interesting. Who else have registered? Who else? Who else has registered? Yeah, thank you so much. That's it. That's it. That's it. Very amazing. Very amazing. Very amazing. Very amazing. Thank you so much. I'm glad it was worth your time. I'm glad it was worth your time. Mass com students, I hope I'm not taking your job away like this. I'll make a good OAPRB. All right, thank you. Please do well to register for Money Summit. Subscribe to this channel. Please share this video. If it was valuable to you, it will be valuable to your friends. All right, if it was valuable to you, it will be valuable to your friends. So help your friends. Now this is talk to your neighbor. So speak to your neighbor. Neighbor, God will bless you. God will bless you. Yeah, share all these things with your neighbor. Share it on all of the platforms that you can. Share it everywhere. All right. Thank you so much. All of you that belongs to different groups, student groups, just come in here and then let's do it. Okay. I'm grateful, everyone. I do not take this for granted. I do not take this for granted. All right, thank you so much. That's it for tonight. Please do well to join me again on Growth School next week. Same time, same station, anywhere you are. All right, join me next week, same time, same station, 9 p.m. And we will be talking on another amazing topic. All right, I started a series on mastery. All right, the replays are available on this channel. I started a series on mastery. I already did part 1 and part 2. Next week, we'll probably be having a part 3, and I may just be having a guest on Growth School. Are you happy about that? Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.